Fresh, you have.
Hello and welcome. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. I'd like to thank our sponsors at Procyon Partners. Procyon, one of the top 50 fastest growing companies in the nation. They specialize in employee benefits, wealth management, and retirement planning. President Sean Rabinowitz, proud supporter of our podcast network and everything we do. Green Street Trust International, owned and operated by Rennell Jump and UConn legendary men's basketball player Jake Voskuhl. They specialize in tax plans for businesses large or small. They will save you money or get you a big fat return on your taxes. To schedule your free strategic tax planning session today, go to www.greenstreettrust.com. Pete Finch and the Finch Law Firm is located in Bridgeport, Connecticut. If you've suffered any type of personal injury, slip and fall, car accident, your mother-in-law ran you over with her car, your wife got angry one night and decided to stab you, the Finch Firm is for you. Pete has won legal battles all across the state of Connecticut. He will go to war to get every dollar you deserve in compensation. You just have to remember, in a pinch, call Finch or go to his website, thefinchfirm.com. Dynamic Human Performance is owned and operated by UConn legendary running back Andre Dixon. He trains boys and girls of all ages, all sports. He has a boot camp program 7 days a week, 6 a.m. You want to get in shape, you go to Andre. He has an athletic development program where he trains boys and girls in the sport of their choice from the ground up, helps them reach their full potential, be the best they can possibly be. Andre has sent boys and girls to college on scholarship for all different types of sports. To work with the best, he has a 5,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility in Hartford, Connecticut. Go to www.dynamichumanperformance.com. All right, and we are here for Broker Than You. Steve Cully, best podcast host in the universe. Laban Marsh, the king of real estate in Erie, Pennsylvania, Marsh & Marsh Real Estate. And none other than the entrepreneur extraordinaire himself, Nedvonne Young, the owner of FreshFold Laundry Co. company in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Great to see you guys.
Good to be with you.
Well, first off, let's get the elephant out of the room. Thoughts on the game?
Listen,
I just had to hear about it from Joe D and Marie and get yelled at. So,
well, my only, I was there for Saturday night's game and sat amongst Illinois fans. And dude, I realized this is why I don't go to sporting events. And you got to sit around your people. Because there were times I wanted to just turn around and throw haymakers at these opposing fans, and it's just
how crazy they are.
But luckily, we were in the front row of our section, so like there was a walkway in front of us. Like if somebody would have been in front of me, belligerent, and when they got within 5, I started to get a little nervous. You can feel the momentum turn, but we absolutely dominated. And honestly, I think we talked about this last week a little bit. We really did need Arizona to beat Michigan up a lot more than they did, and Arizona didn't help at all. I took the boys thinking we'd stay for a good Michigan-Arizona game. We left at halftime, which got Lincoln that nice picture with the 4 students from the students section.
You know that was the largest defeat in Final Four history for a number 1 seed?
Well, but I did not know that specifically, but I know that they had been talking about how dominating they are because even in the previous Elite 8 game, they won by 30, I think.
They've won every game by double digits in the tournament, Michigan.
So they was looking like us from like 2 years ago when we were beating everybody by like 23 average.
We had the largest margin of victory. We still have that record, but
well, and I tell you what, you can say, obviously their coach is a good coach. I didn't like the fact that we got beat by 5 transfers. None of those guys who played for Michigan a year before.
I know.
So it kind of makes me feel like the high school boundary, non-boundary
that's the
thing.
New world.
It is.
That's
and I'm okay with that. But when you looked, and so I came home, I wanted to watch the game at home in the comfort of my own lower level by myself. And when they showed that graphic of how Michigan had won throughout the tournament, they didn't score less than 90 points on anybody.
They averaged 90 points.
Yeah, my prediction was going to be 73-71 UConn, and then I'm like, dude, if we can hold them to 70 points,
that
we've done a great job.
Exactly what Joe.
Yeah.
If you watch our Husky
we did
on Monday, that's what Joe and Maria said.
Yeah, if you would have told me they were only going to score 69, I thought for sure we'd win. But, and I didn't mean to cut you off, Fresh. Like, I started against Duke. I was complaining on Facebook about the foul discrepancy.
I thought the fouls were ridiculous.
Even Joe D commented on Facebook about how it was not only lopsided in the first half like Duke, but then even in the second half, you can't play the guys that you need to play. Oh, Joe D said on Facebook, he commented and admitted that the fouls were not evenly distributed, which it was 11-3 or something in the first half.
He completely disagreed with me because I complained about the officiating, and he said, "Steve, we've been fouling in foul trouble all year. This was nothing new." So he said that on Facebook. Oh,
but listen, I was more upset.
I thought it was poorly officiated.
The fact that
they called it differently for us.
Cadeau slapped Reed on the wrist, even backed up after he did it, thinking he'd get called a foul. They didn't call it. He two-hand shoved Silas towards the end.
It should have been it should have been a technical.
There were just too many things. Yeah. And again, you got to shoot better. But when you look at, it's not just the fouls. What happens when you foul? They went to the foul line and made
they were in the bonus. Yeah. They were in the bonus within 10 minutes.
They made, I think, a total of like 25 or 26 points from foul shots.
And listen, nobody wants to.
You take half of those away, the game is over. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. But nobody wants to hear it as fans, and it was a good game. But there's no way you can watch that game and say, that was pretty equally officiated. It just wasn't. So
I thought it was one-sided.
The same was true for the women's game, and I wish Gino would have handled it better. You basically have to know that these refs do not, or whoever doesn't want to see UConn win championships again. So it just felt like they were doing everything they can. 5-on-8 was a lot of the comments I saw on Facebook. But still, I think more than anything, when you look at the stats and the foul shots and the foul discrepancy, I think it was like 25-13. UConn.
We never get to the line. We struggle to get to the line.
Well, and listen, we didn't do a great job of making foul shots. We did better in that championship game than some of the previous games. But even Solo Ball missed some pretty clutch foul shots in that Duke game that he needed to make. So
he did.
It's amazing that they were able to get there.
Too. Him and Demery were both banged up. Yep.
Yeah, and like Stewart was somewhat ineffective just because
Stewart
he's been
has
out
been a disappointment.
Yeah, it was a great run, valiant effort, and anybody that I talked to that was even a Michigan fan, like everybody had to accept the fact that UConn is gritty. UConn
Alex Caravan went out on his sword. I was
without a doubt. So,
but they're Michigan by far, I thought, was the better team. They had more talent.
Yeah, and that's where I just
they had a G League team. That's why.
Well, you're right.
It's a G League team. They had three grad students was in the start lineup. You had 3 grads in the start lineup. So I mean, it's one of those things, man. I think again, what I like about how the staff and the players, they just they didn't make excuses for it. I think, what's understood doesn't need to be said, right? You can clearly see what happened, but it's one of those things where, like, you know what? You could complain, you could do it, but it's over now, right? It's in the books.
Right.
Yeah.
Would we have loved to have won? But the thing is, just like how when we all played, we were always told, don't, or any sport I ever played, and the way I coach my kids and everything too, don't leave it, don't put it in the officials' hands. Like,
Right.
don't. Yeah, and I was like, even when we talked, when I was an official in football, I refereed for a bit, and I would tell coaches when we have like kind of the meetings with the coaches and stuff, we say, hey, like, don't let your kids know, like, do the things that they're supposed to do, play within the rules, within the lines, and make plays. Don't put it in our hands. Like, don't put it in our hands to determine whether the game is won or lost. Clearly win. Right.
Yeah.
So if we had opportunities to clearly put ourselves in position, but I think
100%.
we did have momentum shifts with some of those things, like the pauses with the foul.
Yeah.
What I didn't understand, you mentioned that the shove on Demery. If I'm not mistaken, they paused the game.
Yeah.
I thought
to
they were
determine.
Foul.
Yeah. To determine whether it was a foul or not, if it was a flagrant foul. But even if it was a common foul, should that still not have been? It was a foul on us. We should have gotten the ball. We didn't get the ball. I don't know if you guys realize that. They called it. Yeah. It was determining whether it was a common foul or a flagrant foul. But it's like they didn't realize, like, okay, whether it was a common foul or flagrant foul on us.
Did they call a foul? They did call a foul on Michigan?
No, what I think they did is, I think they called it a common foul, but if there was a common foul on us, meaning like against us, then we should have got the ball.
Right. No, I get what he's saying. I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and again, I think
you're muted. You muted yourself.
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I ask you this? There was a review about a foul, okay? And I didn't understand this. Michigan it was like a technical. They got 2 free throws in the ball back. The one that
that was on Caravan for the hook and hold.
For the hook and hold.
The hook and hold.
That's a technical?
Yeah, he should have. Yeah, well,
I didn't know. That's what I didn't get.
Only in college, only in men's college basketball. I don't even know if it's in women's, but yeah.
Oh my God! I know that. I didn't know that's why. I didn't know that was a technical. So yeah,
in most leagues it's not, but in the NCAA it is for men.
Okay. And I really thought that we could have won that game because defensively holding them, under 70, it was just an uphill battle to score on offense. Their defense was swarming and ferocious so long. We missed so much in transition.
Yeah. And
they had so many blocks, and we shot terrible from the outside. We were great in the first half. We couldn't hit a fucking barn in the second half.
And they even said that the commentators were saying how they thought maybe it was that end of the court because Michigan was awful too.
Yeah.
And that was something Gino commented, I think, on the round of 64. He's like, listen, these hoops have never been shot on.
And
there were so many missed shots.
Balls too. Yeah.
But listen, dude, when Terrace Reed was making his foul shots, he was getting a lot of love from those rims because, man, a couple of them, he had a soft enough.
He's not a foul shooter, Terrace Reed.
Well, but he really did. I think it was 5 to 7. Like, he did a pretty good job. But
hey, what's up, Dave?
Schumann calling in. He doesn't like our commentary right now.
Lunch, yes.
Dave, you want to say hi to Laban and Nedvonne? I'm on with them.
You on a podcast?
Yeah, right now.
I'll let you go.
No, say hi. You say hi to him.
What up, Dave?
What up, Coach?
Laban and Nedvonne say what's up.
Call later. Good to see you, everybody. Hope everybody's well.
All right. I'll call you back. But yeah, I just, the fact that we were the only team to hold them under 90, not only that, under 70. was amazing. Maria and Joe D were right on point with saying, if we could get the first team to 70 would win the game. And if we had just had a few more in transition, if a few more of the threes fell, I mean, Mullins airballed a couple of them. Caravan took some ill-advised ones.
Bro, was AK the one who banked one in?
No, Solo did.
Solo. Yeah, and man, he was he still never really.
He was off the whole tournament. Demery was off. Demery was injured the whole tournament.
2 points in the finals. Yeah.
Demery didn't play in the Furman game.
Right, but that's where Malachi. No, Smith.
Malachi, yes.
Bro, stepped up huge in that game.
Malachi, all over. Yes. Malachi was a fifth-year grad transfer. He was not great during the season. He stepped up in the NCAA tournament. He played very, very well.
But listen, it's interesting because early in the season, my son has a private coach who's very knowledgeable, great basketball player. And when the season started, he was telling Drew to watch Malachi Smith. Number 0. And I'm like, are you sure you don't mean solo ball number 1? He's like, no, dude, Malachi. So my son's coach thought very highly of Malachi right out of the gate. So that's who kind of Drew was watching all season. So I then started to watch him a little bit. Definitely a good ball player, but it will be interesting to see, will Mullins stay? Do you think
I think he has to. I think he has to. Liam McNeely isn't doing much.
And that's right there. That is exactly why I think he'll stay, is because he is Liam McNeely following through. But again, as young as he is, you're going to make money at UConn, especially with NIL going into the next few years.
Yeah.
I hope he follows suit of Alex. I'm not saying stay for 4.
I think he'll stay.
Look how good of a career Alex had by just staying put.
He's got the most wins ever. And
I think Mullins, if he sticks with it for at least another year or 2,
I think he needs 2 years.
Because what we picked up, I think we have the McDonald's All-American Player of the Year, the co-players of the year, both are coming. Something like that.
I know we do. I know we do for the women. I didn't. Joe D said for the men. For the men, we don't. We only have 2 freshmen coming in, and they're small. One of them 6'4".
Okay,
the McDonald's All-American are the women.
Are you sure, dude? I'm pretty sure I saw 2 of the guys.
I mean, Joe. That's what Joe D said. But
he also said the fouling was okay.
Well, no. When I said I thought the officiating was terrible and that it was one-sided. He said, UConn, Steve, we've done this show all year, and UConn gets in foul trouble every game. This was nothing new.
I'm going to find the post real quick.
I
commented, and
Well, can you please respond to it and say, I watched Husky Hoops, Joe, and
here it is. First half thoughts. Michigan is making every UConn possession a rock fight, but the Huskies are playing their butts off. They survived ginormous foul trouble. Then he says, I think there is normally too much bitching about the officials, but tonight they are embarrassingly bad. The hook and hold on Caravan was a joke. They need to do better. Joe D.
I can't respond to that. You have to stick up for me. All I want you to say is, hey, Joe, I watched Husky Hoops. And when Steve talked about the officiating, you said UConn was in foul trouble all year and didn't see an issue with it. Please just say that. I'll Venmo you to do it. Please.
Steve Culley thought you were on the side of the stripes. Per Husky Hoops podcast.
Yes, please do that.
And then I'm going to give him I don't know. All right, I did it for you. There you go.
All right. So I wanted to ask you first about the real estate market. And because it seems to be discrepancies all over the place. Which markets do you see being mispriced by the market right now? And, where would you put your chips?
Ooh, man, that's a really good question. And I mean, the
Sorry,
market as we see it, I mean, I'm sitting here trying to figure out myself, what is the next, thing to buy? And for me, it's not the fixer-upper.
You've been holding, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a buy and hold guy, but when you buy, you want to buy at the right price, which has been very difficult to do.
Yes.
So then if you're going to be paying essentially top dollar, just make sure you understand what you're getting for that. And a lot of times a better deal might require more money into it to get it where you want it. And I think that's the biggest thing, is when you start to speculate what kind of work needs done, that gets very challenging, because there's just so many things that as you uncover one or two defects, other things start to, reveal themselves. Yeah. And so it's kind of like we've talked about the flips before. I mean, and I'm not saying you have to hire professional contractors. Like, there's a lot of people the DIYers that do a pretty good job. But that's where you got to be careful, is right now, a lot of what's on the market, came up 5-6 years ago before the boom. And so the question is, did they really put good money into fixing this up, or did they do it as quickly as possible and polish a turd, if you will? And then are you buying that polished turd? Or are you buying something with good bones that's been, done the work well? It's okay to ask, like, who did the work? Is it professional contractors? And even on our disclosures, they tell what improvements you've made, and if you've hired, professionals, if they were licensed, did they pull permits? So there's a lot of, due diligence that you can do to find that out. But I think from my perspective and in my experience, the executive, what I would call an executive rental, like the more high-end rental, has always been a solid game, because a home that's well cared for, right? You find it for a tenant. If it's well cared for, they're likely to keep, caring for it and taking care of things. If it looks like it needs a bunch of work, the tenants do not, and we got into that where somebody said, well, I think you asked last week, if the tenant says they'll pay, or they'll take care of the painting if you can reduce the rent, it's like, no, thank you. That's not how we do things.
Yeah. Then you'll have a turquoise wall.
Oh, and again, I think that's where, and we get into like the AI and stuff. There was a listing that had turquoise walls, and then the next picture was that same room, but in AI with like tan walls. And it's like, well, if you think it looks better in AI, do it for real, because people are going to see the picture and then come inside and be like, wow, that is atrocious. So I think, again, in regards to where do you put your chips, single families, I mean, multis can work well, but most people, even on the rental side, want to have a place of their own. So if you're in a market that yields single family rentals, the more executive rentals are where we find that, tenants take better care of the places. They're willing to pay a little bit more if you have the amenities. But that it's a very good question, because the market is continuing to shift. But if you price homes right, there's not enough inventory. And so you're going to get a buyer that's willing to buy it. So
Fresh, are you there? I just wanted to see.
I'm here.
Okay. So my question to you is kind of similar. Just what would you say about the market in your area? Because I have basically two family friends who are moving to the Chapel Hill area.
Really?
So I was just curious. Yeah, they love. I mean, they love North Carolina.
Do you know why they're moving? Like, I'm just curious, because I always we see a lot of churn in Erie. The same families just moving, either upsizing, downsizing. Is it job relocation? Is it just
one of them is job relocation, and another one is more for retirement, I guess.
Yeah, they just like the setting. That's where
they like Chapel Hill. Yeah, so that's why I was curious what your thoughts are on the North Carolina market, because I was surprised. I mean, the one bought a place very fast, like it happened quickly. The other one took some time, so that's why I was curious to know what the market was like.
Well, I would say, I mean, the market here it's the inventory is really low. Like things are going off the market really quick. Like
so that's why.
My in-laws are looking to downsize and get a small space and they got stairs and stuff. They're trying to get like more of a ranch, and they were looking at it was a space we saw that was kind of close to our area in Chapel Hill, and they set an appointment to go see it probably within like 2 days of it supposed within 2 days of it popping up or we seeing it, and before their appointment happened it was under contract like the next day. So
see, now
by
this
the way,
is go ahead.
I have to stop you, Laban.
Okay.
Just so you guys know, the show last week did 37,000 viewers just on YouTube alone. You guys blew it up.
All right.
And had like 100 or 83 likes. It was unbelievable.
Nice.
Just so great job.
Well, one of the things that I am always curious about too, and it's usually like a fear or a comfort as to why they take the approach, but like you have a twofold, right? When you say your in-laws are downsizing, do you think they're more concerned about selling their house or about finding the right home? Because that's a predicament I have with a lot of clients where they're like, well, I don't know if I should sell my home first. I don't want to sell my home and not be able to find something, and we've always said, get your house sold first and then you'll be able to find something. But with inventory as low as it is, I'm just curious what consumers find to be more stressful, because I would think it's, hey, I know I want to sell my house, but I got to downsize. So I'm going to find the house I want first, but a lot of times in order to buy that, they need to sell their existing home.
Yes. That,
you know what I mean?
100% was true. Yes.
I think everybody's situation depends on the situation different.
For sure. And they offer, like some banks will do what's called a bridge loan.
That's how this person was. They had to sell their house before. Yeah.
Right. And so banks have offered what's called a bridge loan. So that means like if I need to sell my house to buy one, so like my house isn't sold, I don't know if I want to make an offer. Well, you can make an offer on that house and plan for a bridge loan, which is going to bridge the gap so you don't have to pay 2 full mortgage payments. The bank will understand that once you buy the home that you're getting under contract with a new loan, you're going to go and sell your home. So then that goes to like an interest-only payment, so it's more palatable. And then as soon as that sells, your bulk payoff goes to pay down that bridge loan. And so if people are worried about, well, I'm afraid I'm going to be homeless, I don't want to sell my home and not have a home to buy.
Correct.
Like find the home that you want to purchase, inquire about a bridge loan if that's necessary to bridge that gap. And then once you're under contract, and here's the other thing, maybe instead of a 30-day close, bump it out to 45 or 60 days. And if the seller is getting what they want for the offer, they're probably willing to wait another 15 days. And that can give you enough time. If you have 45 or 60 instead of 30 days to close, now I can put my home on the market and hopefully get it under contract so that I can do a back-to-back closing, meaning I don't even really need the bridge loan now because I've secured a buyer for my home. And as long as that closes, I can use the proceeds to buy the new one. So I don't want people to say, well, I've got my home to sell, so I'm not going to start looking yet. You need to do 2 things at once and be looking around, and also be ready to put your home on the market. Not, well, it's going to take me a month.
You got to go.
You've got to be ready to go in this type of market because your dream home might come, and you can't make it contingent because you'll lose it. There's just ways that you can prepare for the market that we're in. And that's where I was curious from Fresh and from others, because if you're sitting on equity, but the worst thing you can do is commit to buying something with the assumption that yours is going to sell.
Yours is going to sell.
Or it's going to sell for a certain amount. Like, hey, if I need to get $350 to put down on my next home and you only get $330. Okay, well, $330 is what it's going to be worth. So don't, you're buying your house back for $20,000 and you really want to get out of it and get into a new one. So I think that's where, especially as we come into spring and summer, that's a predicament a lot of people come into, or they're like, I couldn't make an offer because my house isn't ready to go. Well,
Fresh, let me ask you this, because I had this discussion with one of my friends. In my opinion, would it be, I know it's contingent on the market you're in. If you do have a house and a property, couldn't you just rent it instead of selling it and get that residual income? And you know, instead, I know people want that one-time payment for selling their house, but I just think long-term, making your money work for you, shouldn't you consider maybe renting it or Airbnb-ing it? I'm starting to think like you guys.
It's good. It's good.
It depends. I mean, it's a good strategy, and also depends because now.
Do you have down payment?
What do you say?
Yeah,
do you have the down payment?
They did. Yes, they did. And I was like, why didn't you just rent your place?
Well,
and he was like, I don't want to deal with it, you know, because it's so far away.
It's a number of reasons. So you could, it could be, all right, like, you know, I can't, what Laban was hitting at, like, you might need to sell so you can have money to purchase something else. That could be the situation. A lot of times, and even if you did, and you had that property, you're like, say, like a situation like my in-laws, and you're downsizing. If you wanted to, you could keep it as a rental. You could pull a grab a HELOC, pull some money out, and do it that way. So you can do it, but it depends on where you are, and depends on your temperament,
the location,
about the market, or about how real estate works. So if you're just a layman person who's just like, I live in a property.
That's what he is.
And that's it. And I'm not trying to, you know, make money from real estate. I just live, right? I just do that.
He didn't think he could manage, you know, a property and being in North Carolina up in Utica, you know, that was his concern.
Manager. Find a good property manager.
I know. I don't think he wanted to spend that.
Yeah. So the property manager thing, for sure. Like you would love to. That's ideal. What you want to do is be more hands off. But at the same time, you have to find not just a property manager. You got to find a good property manager. It's just like
exactly
find an employee. You got to find good ones. There's plenty of people who want a job. There's plenty of people who can manage your property. But sometimes, you know, you find yourself in a situation where it's just all about your their game. So, for instance, when I had one of my properties I had in Baltimore, we had a property manager that their bulk of their payment was they got, like, I think the first month's rent, equivalent of first month's rent. So basically, we collect the deposit and first month's rent. You know, we put you put the deposit in like escrow, or you put it in, you know, in a separate account. But then the first month's rent, we basically give it to the property manager, and then they would get. I think we were at like 8% of the, and you make sure when you do this, of the collected rent. Now,
okay.
So you got to do collected rent, not of what the rent is, because they're like, oh no, it says of the rent, and it's not rented, and they still expect to get paid. But it's like the collected rent. So that's an incentive for them to make sure that the tenant stays in there, and not just getting somebody in there to get that lump sum payment, and they can, you know, because some people run the game that way.
Dude, can I stop you just real quick? Yeah. Because that is insane to me what you just said, that there are landlords that if they hire a property management company, that they would collect rent indefinitely for 12 months without receiving it from the tenant. Like, that's what you're saying. That's insane. Well, yeah, collected rent. Like, so you're saying I own the property, I sign a management agreement with you. The assumption from the owner is that I'm going to receive 12 months of my proceeds less your management fee, regardless of if there's a tenant?
Yeah, because
wow.
Again, some places and some people have that mindset, because
I know that's crazy. Like, I've managed properties I would never charge for rent not collected, but wow.
But that's how you see how people do business.
Yes.
Because you have people go, well, look, I'm going to make sure that it's rented. I'm going to make sure I'll take care of everything. You know, we'll do the make ready. We're going to make sure things there. Even though when the make ready is done, it's going to be on your dime. It's going to be like, hey, it's going to cost you $1,500.
Yeah.
Right. That's just for the paint.
Right.
Right. So you know what I mean? So it's one of those things. So back to your question, Steve, is yes, it can be a good thing to do, to Airbnb it out. What I would recommend more so is to think outside the box when it comes to renting it, to renting your place. So doing a kind of like medium term or long term rental, but not from like if you have it like a facility like traveling nurses or your corporate housing. You want to try to get hooked up with like a relocation company, like get those kind of relationships, because then now you got people standing there for 3 to 6 months, or insurance claims when someone
insurance is one of the best.
Insurance another one. So,
really, I didn't even think of that.
Your regular, you might collect $2,300, $2,500 on this particular house a month, but the insurance is $5,000 a month, right? It's like double.
Right.
All right, that rate is $5,000.
And the
corporate
taxes
housing will pay
temporary though.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's a finite amount of time that they're going to be there, and their whole goal is to get out of there and get somewhere else.
Yes.
So they're not going to really try to make it home.
Right.
They're not going to do certain things. They're not.
Yeah, you're right.
Stuff. And then whoever the relocation company, insurance company, they're on the hook for if something gets damaged.
Damages.
You have a lot of redundancy put in place to make sure that you're covered. Now, and then even if you have gaps, right? So the average time it may take to rent a place is like, 30 to 60 days. So if you are getting, let's just say if it's rented 8 months out of the year at 2x or 3x of what your rent is, it doesn't matter to you that is empty, that is empty for
I see what you're saying.
For the next person come in, or a month before the next person come in, because once that person's in there and they're in there for 3 months, instead of getting $2,500, you're getting $2,500 for the whole time. You're getting $1,000 for 3 to 6 months. You get you got $15,000 to potentially 30,000. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like
more, that's more. Yeah.
So you're looking at a really nice amount for for less time,
a shorter period of time,
right?
And you can keep turning it over.
So, and that goes back to the question you also asked Laban about what should people should invest in. I think people should always get real estate because it never really goes down, right? But it's about your exit strategy. It's really about the strategy you use.
Yes.
But I'm mentioning like, hey, if you're going to go dabble in the single family market, you need to try to start having these relationships to do stuff like, maybe do a group home, where you're doing like military veterans. You can have veteran housing for homeless.
Well, like Razul with the House of Changes.
Yeah, you could do
the sober living.
Like these are options that make sense. And then you also, outside of many of these, you can get, say, the government to pay for. So, for instance, with veterans,
that's what he's missing out on. I'm trying to help him with.
So with the veterans, you could put people into. They pay basically per bed.
They pay you per room.
And you don't have to make it. You don't have to go crazy, but you can do 2 beds to a room, right? You got a 4-bedroom.
Yeah.
You're talking about that's 8 beds, and they'll pay you in the neighborhood of $1,200.
Oh, I know. That's what I was trying to get Razul to do, because he only has 8 beds, and I said you could put 2 to a room, which he hasn't done, and he does. I know sober living, they get paid normally from the state for how many beds are full, and they have gotten 0 grants. And I went online and I found like 5 different grants that they should be getting and applying for, that they would get paid money, because every resident in their house has to pay $800 a month. So, I mean, they make good money off of it, but the house has to be full, and it's been full now for, knock on wood, 2 months. But there's been times when there's only been 4 people there. But he doesn't get any money from the state because they don't have the bandwidth to explore the grants and to fill out the applications. I showed him the website, and I hope that they're able to apply. But I also wanted to ask, because I talked to Razul, they had their Husky investment group meeting. So my question is, they're going to invest in another property.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you, if you could invest and buy property anywhere in the country, where would you buy and why?
I would say, I mean, it's a
you
lot.
You probably can't say it off the top of your head, but
well, I mean, it's a lot of good markets. You got to follow the trends of the markets of certain areas, and then what happened in development. The RDU area is huge right now because of the research triangle and all of the advancements in technology and medical stuff. It's actually one of the top hubs for like gaming.
Yeah.
Also another industry that's big.
It's true.
So you have to, I would invest in something that I am, or my group or somebody in the group is willing to invest the time into becoming an expert in that particular asset class or that particular exit strategy. So,
right.
Like, for instance, I'm talking about, basically some form of group home. So if you already have,
I told Razul to do that.
Of doing it, why not do another? Or
I agree.
Residential assisted living. There's a number of things that you could end up doing. But the thing is that you really have to make sure that you or whoever's on the team is willing to try to become an expert in that particular space. So
right.
It's important that you have, if you have a group, there should be a team mentality. Some people need to be experts in certain things. Not everybody just
you're right.
So I think, and I had mentioned this something before too. Like, you guys it has to be.
And that's where they've had some consternation because there's people who want to be involved more than others. And that's what causes rifts.
And that's fine, but don't expect for everything to be equal, right? It's not going to be
exactly.
If it's 10 people, it's not going to be everybody gets 10%. Like,
no, because some people are doing more than others.
Yeah, if you want to be a limited partner, great. You're a limited partner or general partner, a limited partner. So certain roles, you get certain things. You're limited partner, you're limited to the money. You're
your
limited
money. That's it.
No,
I don't need to hear your. I don't want to hear your voice.
But that's what there's guys that just want that. They want to give their 10 or 20 grand and just be a silent partner or an investor.
And that's fine. But that's on the operator. The people who put the operators who put the stuff together. Like, this should be a learning experience. Okay, we need to adjust the agreement because this is how we adjust it. If we can't come to terms on adjusting it, here's the thing. Then we need to dissolve it. Right? We need to dissolve it because certain things are not sustainable. Because look, if you tell me,
and I know that he would, they've had frustrations.
Yeah, I'm like, if you tell me it's a group of us, and you tell me, okay, I put up,
it's tough to work with 10 people.
No matter what I do, I'm gonna get an equal share. If I do nothing, I get equal share. If I do something, I'm getting the same. No,
that ain't fair.
Yeah. If you're involved, right? The minimum you'll get 5%, right? If that's what it is. If you want more, you have to be involved more. You get
exactly
more, and then you only get, that's only part of residuals. You might not get more to upside. There's different ways you could break this waterfall up.
Structure it right.
Ways. So that's the thing, is that even the person, the operator, has to study how successful people are operating these things. This is what hedge fund people do. Like, they buy these properties, they know what they're doing. Like, this is what, like, BlackRock places. Yeah, that's how they go in, they do it with real estate and say, we're going to take this thing. We have the skills to 10 exit, 5 exit, or what have you. But we have the skills to do it. Because we have the skills to do it, we get a certain amount. If you want to invest with us, we can guarantee you this amount of return. And we only guaranteeing you what we guarantee you. And as long as you're fine with that, you give people what they ask for. Okay, are you cool with this? Or what they agree to, if you will. So if you agree to it, then that's that. There's no additional things.
Yeah, but And that's where the trouble people have, though, is that once it starts to become successful, they want a little bit more now, but then they don't want to pay the price of its value going up.
And they're debating about where they want to buy, because some of the guys want to buy in Florida. Razul wants to keep things consistent and buy in Connecticut. So that's why I was asking, they can buy anywhere.
And I think that goes to Fresh's point, though. Like, as soon as you say that to me, where are you buying? I'm not looking more than 30 miles outside of what I can get to. That's just me personally. Like, that doesn't mean there's a lot of great deals around me. I'm just saying, unless I can drive to it in a half a day, it's too far unless you are fully committed to handing the reins off to somebody and trusting them to do it. And that's why I choose titles versus names, because it's like, who's the operator versus who's, in charge. Because as soon as it's Tommy and Jimmy, Jimmy's my best friend, and Tommy I just met through, you know what I mean? It makes it really tough when you use names versus titles, because this title, this is your role as whatever, whether it's you're just a member without voting rights, if you will, like we're just using your money, but you're trusting all of the decisions up to us. I don't want to hear you say we should buy in New Jersey.
Right.
Remember, you're not. And I think that's where, going back to like sports and teamwork, like, you better put the captain in charge is who you really feel can man the ship. Because you can't name a captain and then 6 months when the waters get turbulent, think I need to grab the wheel because I'm better in it. It's like, well, that's not what we talked about.
That's not how we set it up.
You need some more money from your personal lifestyle. So now you want to get into a different role, and that role has already been taken and it was initiated, and they're doing a good job. So it's just really hard. Or if you're brought in as a partner to play a certain role and then you're just not doing a good job at what it is that you're supposed to be, the master at. And that's where the delegation and kind of knowing your role is really hard on partnerships, just because after a certain time, people think they can do more than what they maybe can actually do.
Now, my question is, like, the Husky Investment Group with Razul, and there's like 10 of them. Do you think they is like a lawyer that drew up a contract with how, the breakdown would be with, percentages and roles and things like that? Is there typically a contract involved?
Oh, yeah.
It should be,
but an operating agreement, if you will.
You don't know. Ideally, when you have a group of multiple people, you want to have at least what he said, an operating agreement. Ideally, an attorney looks it over, or you have it from someone that has the know-how, the pedigree, that put them together, that's done these things before, and you feel comfortable with what you put together. So I don't know 100% of all of the workings behind it, but what I will say,
but I'm saying you would say normally a group of this size would have an operating agreement, something drawn up by an attorney.
I can't say normally. The reason why you can't say normally.
Oh, okay.
Because
I would say normally.
No, so he would say probably normally. Let me say normally, because within his experience. So, but I've seen people. And we've all seen people who just go, okay, like he said, Laban, there's a reason why you say I'm about titles over names, because you've done things. It may not have been with, you spoke about one of your bad experiences with someone that
And he's got 5 different LLCs with his family.
So here's the thing. So it happens. So the thing is, because you go, all right, we're amongst friends, right? This is it's all teammates. We all played together. We all did this, that. So we can just agree because we cool like that.
Yeah, we are.
I don't know if that's their setup. I don't know. Maybe they do have an operating agreement. They have things. So to say,
I know that's what the meeting was about, to try to do
that. So ideally, yes, you have an agreement in place. Whether they do or not, that is I don't know. But what I will say is, if they were listening, is I recommend if you don't have that structure in place, get the structure in place, because what it will do is it puts things into perspective. It creates a sense of accountability and understanding of what people's roles are. and what expectations are, and they don't change unless there's a meeting to make an adjustment, to readjust, and that's what you want to do from an operation standpoint. You want to make sure it's operating so that you avoid the headache. You know what headache you had. You want to invest in something else. Okay, well, we need to adjust our agreement so that we can pick what's best. And you need to, and that goes from what are you doing? So when you're like, oh, they're trying to figure out what to invest in, that should be in your kind of in your operating agreement or in your target. Okay.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So for one of the syndications I'm in, we invest in multifamily. We invest in multifamily assets. And I think we invest there. That particular group, we invest in multifamily assets, and in Texas, specifically in the I think it's the Houston metro area.
Yes.
So like we know we're going to continue to trade assets in Houston.
That's the area.
What that does. Now they may say, hey, we got another. We're doing another one. We're doing another raise for a syndication. We're doing another syndication. This one's going to be separate. This one is for Tennessee and for Nashville area, or we're doing something for RDU, for the RDU to Triangle or RDU, or the Greater Charlotte area. So the thing is, that should be laid out, and this is the kind we're investing in multifamily assets or mixed use assets or single family asset. We're trying to do a single family portfolio.
So it makes it really clear cut, and
it's like clear. What you
gives you direction.
And I think the other thing with the operating agreement that some people don't think about is, like, there does come a point in everyone's life where priorities change. And so you start with an ending, meaning like, what's my buyout? Like
that's like Sam was the one who got out of it. Remember, Sam was initially in the group, and then he was bought out of it because he didn't want to be in it. He started doing his own thing.
And
so
I think that buyout portion, though, is something where, again, it's really important because, like, I have an operating agreement where you can't just find another investor to come in and replace you. Like, the partners all have to be in agreement. Yeah. If they, like, I can't even pass it down to my children. It can't be, it would go, if anything happened to me, it goes to the other partners. So the operating agreement is vital to that, the organization and how you operate. And then as far as, creating titles, it's one thing to have titles, but it's like, after a year or two, how is it really working? Is the people carrying the titles, are they doing what they need to be doing? And then, I mean, that's just the biggest challenge, are expectations versus how it actually works. And I think from my perspective, I always looked at it like we wanted partners that had specialties that would help us. And then what you do is, I had a partnership of 5. So you're 20% of whatever the bill is. If the bill is for one of our partners who's in HVAC, then that partner still pays 20%, but then they do the job just like they do the job for anybody else.
Correct.
But because it's for us, we know you're really taking care of it. You're giving us the best price, all while still being able to feed your family. So the beauty is, kind of that transparency, but also that knowing that this is just a partnership. So we're splitting the cost over each of us, or to your percentage. If you're a 50% owner, you're absorbing 50% of the cost as well as 50% of the profit. Everybody just wants to think it's profitable, but what happens if it's not profitable? Are you okay eating, 10%, 20%? So it's all about, and I'm glad they're having meetings to talk about it, because you can make these things look however you want them to look. The question is, in reality, does the operating agreement emulate the best functions and the efficiency of the business? Because when you say, where do you buy? If nobody's in Florida to manage that stuff, now you're increasing your cost because you have to pay a management company.
There 10%. Are. Yeah.
Whereas and I guess that's my thing. Like with the plowing this winter, we got rid of the plow guy that used to cost us 12 to 14 grand a month. Levi has a truck, so we're now paying him literally 10% of what we were paying an outside source. So the benefit is Levi's still a partner, so he's paying himself to a certain extent, but he knows he's getting us a better deal than anybody third party outside. So the benefit of having partners is when somebody does something that they can
contribute
give a little bit knowing that it's benefiting the whole group. And then I can turn the other way where if they get greedy, the whole group suffers. So
yeah. All right. We'll be right back. And then I got a few more questions for you. Down south, we have Julius Williams, Jordan Harris, and the rest of the team of the Trench Mob. They train offensive and defensive linemen. They compete in 5v5 tournaments and college showcase camps all across the country. They have sent kids to schools like Florida, Florida State, Miami, Clemson, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, just to name a few. They have sent the highest percentage of kids who work with them to Division I schools on scholarship. To work with the best, go to trenchmobfootball.com. Nedvonne Young runs the FreshFold Laundry Company in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, a high-end laundry service. You book online, put your laundry out in a clear plastic bag. They pick it up, wash, dry, and fold it for you in 48 hours. Good. They also offer an expedited service if you need that as well.
Looks like we're still
They
here.
have an online subscription model, weekly or bi-weekly, where you can get your laundry done that way. They offer deals for college students. So if you want your laundry done, you can do it in your own dorm. They have a pickup and now a delivery service. So you can have your laundry done without leaving the comfort of your own home or dorm room. To sign up, go to their website, my-freshfold.com. All right, and we are back. So this was a question that was asked last week I did not get to. Laban, Nedvonne, what financing myths still get new investors into trouble, would you say?
Financing.
That's a good question. I mean, I think there's a myth that banks are throwing money at investors. I think the other thing is once you acquire the loan, the bank's not done with you. Like for us commercially, like anybody that has a note for us, they want to see our personal financial statements and our tax returns every single year. And again, depending on what the note is, or if it's a line of credit, like so keep your finances in good order at all times. Because just because you were approved for the loan, a lot of it, especially on the commercial side, they're reevaluating, not that they're going to revoke the loan or call it back. But the misperception is that you just need to acquire the loan and then your finances can go to crap. You really need to keep your financial house in order at all times. And then like we're always late with our taxes, so they understand we got to get the extensions out and things like that. But I mean, it's just vital to know your numbers. And even with the banks, like they might look at things and say, hey, we're reviewing your line of credit. And it's like, okay, well, understand this is what has gone on in the market and how we're trying to, deal with things. It's not like you're not, making an effort to keep your books in order, but it's just one of those things where on the financing side, and especially for investors, these banks, especially after the 2008 recession, most banks, it doesn't matter if you're a owner occupant or an investor consumer, they're going to provide the loan and then assume you're not even going to make your first month's payment. I mean, that's how banks look at their risk assessment. I mean, there's not many banks that are looking to finance for investors without some sort of strings being pulled that you may not be aware of if you're a newbie. So just careful of if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And then just make sure you're allowed to consult other people. Like even when people they'd finance with my wife, it's like, go ahead, are you shopping rates? Are you shopping service? Like you want to find somebody that understands your financial portfolio and your goals and can help advise you in that manner. So I think it is kind of on you, the consumer, to know your finances, But when you're going to a bank or a lender, hard money or otherwise, they're going to want to see your finances and how you handle what it is you have right now.
And having your house in order. Fresh, this was for you last week that I did not get to. Can you say, was there any operational change that you made within FreshFold that produced a big lift for the business?
I would say, yeah. One of the things is in terms of when we switched our location, stopped dealing with that.
That's what I was going to say. You had a better location.
We got a better location, got a much better deal on a facility. I mean, that changes things. When your overhead,
game changer.
When you shrink your overhead, you had a lot more overhead. It saves you save a ton. So you could put those funds towards other things. You can do more marketing. You could do.
And the delivery service too now, or the pickup and delivery, being able to do both. It's huge.
Well, pickup and delivery has always been what we do. So that's like those go hand in hand. So
I didn't think you did both. Okay.
I think you've been confusing is it's the drop off service, which is new. Meaning like people could drop their stuff at the location at our location. And then they could come back and pick it up or we deliver it. We just do. So that's been the adjustment for us. And then what was new, because it was just initially just like we're all pick up and deliver, just pick up and deliver.
Right. No, you didn't have to enter.
Deliver. So we didn't really, because initially I wasn't even, when we had the other location, like I'm not even opening this up to the public. Like this is just the only thing that will open up is people will be able to drop off, but it won't ever be a self-service space again.
I gotta have my cousin's got to talk to you again. He's the one that has the dry cleaning business.
Yeah, I actually was I thought about him last week. I wanted to just gotta reconnect and see what's going on.
Yeah, he wants to connect with you. I know he wants to do something. I don't know what, but if he's able to, that would be so cool. Laban, this was asked, and both of you can answer this. How do you guys go about screening tenants who, are going to be in your property, that are just you get a feel for, they're going to treat it like a home and not just like a dump apartment?
That's a very good question. We are fortunate in Erie. We have a local apartment association. And so we run all of our applications through their service, and they do background checks and they can piece together what you want, but we do a full review of their credit as well as, criminal background history, however you want to call that, for screening. And then obviously meeting the people is what I put to my property manager as being the most vital, having that intuition.
Yeah.
Good and bad, because there's some tenants who might not have great credit, but we're willing to make exceptions based on what their story is to a certain extent. I mean, you want to keep it to the nuts and bolts, but there are instances where we can kind of roll the dice on people with certain criteria. And then there's others who we know before we even run their credit, the questions they ask, like, would you do a rent to own? There's certain things where the people that play the game, who get in and then trash the place and move out early. I can't believe how many people
wait to be evicted.
We have tenants move out, they'll be evicted, and then their new landlord never even calls to see how they
I know.
work. So our property manager always will do a reference, who are your referrals? Is it a former landlord? If we call the former landlord, are they going to say you were a good tenant? So there's that. Like, we're fortunate. The local apartment association in Erie is fantastic. It's who we use. I'd recommend any investors, if you have an apartment association of sorts in your area, get involved, because they'll have resources. We actually have a solicitor who is on call basically for the apartment association. If you have any issues, you don't necessarily have to have your own attorney. You can call the apartment association. They'll give your question to the solicitor, and it's a very worthwhile membership for any and all investors in whatever part of the country you are, if you have one. So that would be my first recommendation is finding a third party to help screen, because it just becomes rather tedious and
I know. Fresh, what are your thoughts on it? Because I know some people, like Laban said, do credit checks, references. I know some people that have even paid to do background checks.
Oh yeah.
And then our HOAs, really difficult and good about bringing good tenants.
Well, I mean, no, the HOA is usually they're not involved in that.
Okay.
The HOA may have within their like bylaws and stuff, like some restrictions on the type of tenants or how long you can have tenancy. So for instance, when we had our co-op in Brooklyn, that's why we sold it, because they adjusted the rental, the rental policy. So before you could rent it,
really,
no problem rented. Then they started charging a fee. The rental fee went up. First, they would say the rental fee for our 1-bedroom apartment initially was probably $1,800 or $1,900 for the year, right? Well, that's what we had to pay, $1,800-$1,900, right, for the year. It didn't really bother us too much, because initially we were getting like $2,500 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment in downtown Brooklyn. So that didn't bother us too much, because we saw it back relatively quickly. But then they switched it from that to $2,500. They went up $600, $2,500, and that was that for the year. So when you're dealing with basically paying a property manager, paying that, you got to get it made ready for whenever you get the turnaround. It's an apartment, so it's not as bad as a house, because it's not too much someone can do to really mess up stuff that's not like superficial. Because usually in the apartments especially New York City, it's like all concrete and center block. So you don't have to be like, oh, it's drywall. Someone knocked a hole in the drywall. And no, everything's behind concrete, which also can be problematic when stuff got to get fixed. Now somebody got to knock down a hole in some.
That's a lot. Yeah.
And then they got to put concrete back when something's done. So I would say, what I was going with from an HOA standpoint, they told us they started switching up restrictions, and the reason, and I understand why they did it, because it's a co-op, they would get like loans to take care of the property and keep and different things like that. And they had recently sold the air rights for like $15 million or something crazy. But because initially I had a view of the East River.
Can I sell my air rights? Jesus.
Yeah. So
who wants them?
Thing when they sold it, but then what happened is they made it difficult, because when the owner occupancy went up under 85%, if it goes up under 85%, then they can't get funded. They can't get funding from like the banks to do different things. So they have to make sure once it started, occupancy would creep around, they would try to keep it around 89. So if it got around 89, they started to switch things up and say, no, too many people kind of see like, all right, I can move out of New York or go move somewhere else, and I can, I don't own anything on this, I'm people live there for X amount of years. And imagine you getting anywhere from $2,500 to $3,200, depending on the size of your apartment. And you just got to pay, at the time you paid $19,000 to $2,000 annually, and you just hit a property manager up. It's easy. It's a dormant building. You went through this process of, getting people in. People had to interview, and people had to interview to get in. So they made, it was a whole thing, right? That can make stuff difficult. So
that's not good. Okay.
So yeah, they just it makes them. It gives you more obstacles.
There's a lot of red tape to get through.
Yeah. So, but that's that thing. I know you had asked another question before you.
Yeah, just about if you're screening it for tenant, what works best.
Yeah, the best thing to do is, again, background checks. Like Laban mentioned, you do a background check. You want to have, in addition to just doing a screening for getting them in there, you want to have scheduled inspections. Like,
do you do like the pay stubs too?
Say what?
Do you request pay stubs?
Oh yeah. You want to do so that a part of that.
I've had that.
You want to verify employment and verify employment. Verify employment. You want to do background checks on everyone that's going to occupy the property that's 18 or over.
Jesus. Wow.
Because you can have someone who they're good, but do you see that they have a son or a daughter that has a rap sheet? Now you go, oh, well, guess what? You need to know if they're going to be there. That could bring unwanted,
Well, and that's where I've had people apply for an apartment for somebody else, like, oh yeah, dude. Like they know they have good credit, so they'll do
the application and then Jim will move in.
And yeah, because most of the time landlords don't even follow up with them, like give the keys, and they don't even necessarily. And it's happened to me before where they just think they can sublease it. Like, hey, I got somebody to rent it. I'm moving out, but I'm like, whoa, dude, I don't know. I didn't run the credit. I didn't. You know what I mean? There's all sorts.
Hold on. I'm a little slow here. You're saying that there's people who will rent a property
front
and then sublease it, rent it to somebody else, and say, hey, like I'm renting it to Jim.
Yeah,
they just think you as a landlord just want somebody paying, and so this guy over here from work said he'd pick up my rent, so he just keeps sending. I mean, I've had instances where that tenant will keep paying, and then here's even worse is the tenant. Listen, dude, I've had tenants that say their rent is $550. They're getting $650 from the guy inside, and they're paying me $550. So
they're making them great. Similar situation.
I wish I was that smart.
So here's another thing too. So we had to, and this is a property I'm trying to get my father-in-law to do more of a kind of a group home. Ideally do some because there's a property we stayed in. It's 5 bedrooms in this particular property. So it's a good sized property, 5 bedrooms, and I think 3.5 bathrooms. So this property, every time it doesn't fail. Every time my father-in-law rents this property, he think he rented it to like a family couple or something. It's SROs. They turn it into SROs. And somebody's renting out rooms. And
my God! They run out of room.
Yeah, they rent out a room. So let's just say if he was charging say $2,300, he charged $2,300, but they're charging, let's just say on the low end, right? And they're probably charging more than this because people will pay easily $700 to $800-900 for a room. They will.
One room.
Do you think they're running credit on that sub lease?
Yeah, they're definitely not running anything on these sub people. So they're going. So let's just keep it on the low end. So if it's a couple, they're staying in one room. They're staying in one room. That's a suite, right? They got his own bathroom, and then they share the kitchen. So now they got 4 rooms they're renting out.
They rent out all of them.
They don't need the other ones. It's just this is what they do. Like they're like, all right, this is a nice.
That's
we're not going to own the building.
They're getting $2,000. So they get $2,000. And they're going, all right, we just paid $300. And you know what I'm saying? That's what they do.
That is a hustle and a half. I got to get into that. I'm going to rent out my room.
You go, all right.
Your dad would love it.
$500 for the rent, and then they get all of the cable and they get cable internet and all of that. And they say, hey,
included.
Like you don't got to pay for water, you don't got to pay for anything. All right, it's $700. So now you got $700. So so now they getting. And then they got money to burn, you know what I'm saying? So that's what happens. And then they're pocketing everything. They're living rent free.
And but when you sign your contract or lease, whatever, to move in, isn't that part of the lease agreement? Like if you're going to make changes or bring anyone else in, you have to tell first or ask.
Say yes. I'm going to say yes. But we both know that there's people that just all they do is this. Man, I can rent this property out for $2,500, and then I get $2,500. They're not thinking about nothing else. They're just thinking about that. So they're not thinking about the make ready, how much you actually net annually, because you gotta back out all of these expenses. You gotta account for there's gonna be some type of expense. You need to have like a slush fund or emergency fund. Like, all right, at least a couple months. Like, all right, 2 months. If you get 2,500, you need to have at least $5,000 sitting there. Okay, your water heater, the water heater went or something went. Well, you need to go ahead. Notice, like, you don't have to be concerned about it. So all of that needs to happen. Ideally, most people save for like 2 to 3 years, so you should see that. You don't have to make ready for a while, but you need to get all of that in there. So when you look at it, all in all, you may not profit as much as you think you will, because this person is thinking, all right, I'm going to profit this amount.
They'll get out before that, though.
Yeah, but
and
Laban,
that's the thing. They'll take those tenants with them, and now as a landlord, you had somebody in there that wasn't actually on the lease, and now they are in control of all the other tenants, dictating what they do.
Laban, but let me ask you this, though, because you have a property manager. So if he goes around and collects rent and one of your tenants is renting out a room, would he notice that? Because he doesn't actually go in the house or anything, right?
No, they bring rent. No, that's what I'm saying. And what triggered it was when Fresh said you can schedule like a checkup on the property, a maintenance check.
Right.
And the reason I don't even do that is that this is what happens. Say, okay, 6 months into your lease, we're going to come in and inspect the property. And then you notify them 48 hours. They're going to clean the place up for this one day that you're there. You see it's in good working order. And then you go back a week later for repair. It's like, what happened? Yeah. So that's where I don't even do those anymore, because the tenants can kind of plan for it and then go back to normal living.
So you do like surprise inspections, or just
it's something will come up. Yeah, you try to drive by every once in a while, make sure how many cars are in the drive. Like, there are definitely indicators, but to just say, just they meet at our office, Marcus shows them the place, but you don't, as soon as they sign the lease,
you manage so many properties. I mean,
you don't know who's living there per se.
Yeah.
So,
oh my God.
Oh yeah. You just got to be careful. And that's where I go to the intuition. Like, if they start, because a lot of times these people that are fraudulent do give it away, and you don't realize until after the fact, like, yeah, wait, why would they have asked me that question about, hey, do you come in and check every couple months? Like, oh, no, you don't? Okay, great. And that's the first thing. Like, if somebody has bad credit and they want to rent from you and they say, hey, are you going to be running my credit? Like, you already know this person doesn't want, like, if you ask me, are you running credit? Like, I know you don't want me running credit. Like, there's no more of the conversation has to go on. But somebody that's new might be like, well, yeah, we run credit. Why?
You had this one, Laban. Hey, I'll pay you 6 months rent up front.
Yeah, that's great, though, isn't it?
What'd you say?
Isn't that great if they do that?
What do you get? Month 7, what do you got?
You see. Whatever that money you get in the first time, that's all you're going to ever see. You will see no more money ever.
Yeah. You'd be lucky to get 6 months out of them. I mean, most people, they'll pose that like, hey, do you care if I just pay the whole year's? Like, no, I'd love it. And if they could, they'd be buying a house. So like, you can put 2 and 2 together.
Okay.
But these amateurs are comical with some of their
That
tactics.
is wow. So yeah, I'll pay you 6 months and then you never see 7th month. And they rent. People actually do that. They'll rent a property and then they'll just rent all the fucking rooms out.
Oh, dude, listen, they because they know the game. They know it makes sense as an investor, but they don't have the down payment. But they have the wits about them to know how to leverage it. And again, especially if they have landlord, like going through the process, if they know the landlord wasn't very stringent on letting them in there. Then they're not going to be paying much attention to anything else that goes on.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Try popping back out again and come back in if you can't hear.
We can hear you.
I can hear you now.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
all right. Let me give you these are rapid fire. It's rapid fire round time.
All right.
Okay. Buy and hold or flip?
Buy and hold all day if you're asking me.
Buy and hold. Are you on mute, Laban? I can't hear you.
No, Laban's not on.
I'm not talking loud enough. I'm usually too loud.
I could just hear you, Scully, and
all right. Well, that's all right. Laban said he's buying and holding.
Yeah.
I have no idea what this means, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Cap rate or cash on cash?
Cash on cash return. Basically
Cash.
just saying if I invest $20,000, how quick will I get my $20,000 back?
Is
You know
that
what I mean?
cap rate? Is that
Well, cap rate's calculated a little different based on how much you're buying it for, how much you're getting in return. Most people, I've always heard if the cap rate's higher than the interest rate, you're doing all right. But certain people, want a 12% cap rate. I don't, cap rate it's definitely something, that people use. But there's so many factors that go underneath that. It's a cut and dry mathematics. But cash on cash return is basically, if I invest 20,000, what is my ROI? How long will it take me to get my 20,000 back? If it's like if you spend $24,000 and you're making cash flowing $2,000 a month, your cash on cash return is paid back in the first year, right? So that's where, like, I had an investor that wanted to hit their goal at 5 years. They hit it at 3.5. So, just anytime you evaluate, you want to be kind of modest.
Laban, rapid fire. You answer it. Fresh.
Sorry, that was not rapid.
Cap rate or cash on cash?
I mean, I like cash on cash. It depends. Cap rate, it depends. If you buy it from a purchase standpoint, I would want to purchase it at you want to purchase at a, what is it? You want to purchase at a high, you want to purchase at a low cap, sell at a higher cap if you can, I believe. So ideally so, but cash on cash return.
Laban, worst renovation you've ever seen?
We already know the answer to this one. No, not worst renovation. Probably worst experience.
Your construction.
I mean, now, so like, are you saying the dumbest thing to put money into? Or?
No, the worst renovation that you've done.
Oh, in my experience?
In your experience, yes.
Oh, well. Yeah.
That, like a project that you had something renovated and it was just awful.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting PTSD right now because it brought back so many bad memories. I mean, there's
many of them.
Oh, there's so many. And that was when people would ask me after the fact, they're like, well, how many wins did you get with this contractor? I'm like, what do you mean by wins? He's like, well, how many times did he bid it at 30,000 but finished it in 28? I'm like, never. What? I didn't know that happened until I ran into a contractor that did bid a job for 15 and it ended up, costing him 13. So he charged me 13. So yeah, that's where it's PTSD because basically for the last 20 years, the contractor I did use up to that point, I never had a win. It was always, we went a little over here because I'm bad at math. That really was not.
So that easily, he's the worst. That was the worst renovation. Fresh, even like with you, even in your business or any of your rentals, worst renovation that may have been done at your business or your rental.
I mean, I would say not anything I've seen. So I've seen when you as an agent or broker, you see some crazy stuff. So two things in New York City, in a financial district where I used to work in a financial district. So the buildings are they were old office buildings. So they tried to adjust to make all of the rooms have windows. So you had these like mazes to get to different spaces inside of these places because it was an old office. Yeah. So to have a bedroom, a window, you had to like have these wraparounds in some of these places, and then have a lot of like dead space. It'd be like just a space in a corner, like just like and then they would market it as like you got an alcove or you have something. They'll do something like that. And the only other thing I would say, a brief one, is I saw a video. I just saw a video of this where and they were making fun. The person had the toilet, the bathroom door open, and they were sitting on the toilet, right? And they turned the water on and they were washing their hands. Like that's how close
that's one of many.
Taking a shit and washing their hands.
They were showing you like, hey,
you can't shut the door.
They was trying to make sure that they could get a bathroom in there. So the way that they made sure they got a bathroom in there, the toilet was there. It's a toilet, and then there was a sink. Literally, they could sit on the toilet and wash their hands while they were sitting on the toilet. So that's one of the worst things. And I see that more often. Like I've been in home, especially, and it is bathrooms where you're like, dude, you can't even sit down here without banging your knees on the cabinet you put in. It's gonna have to be a pedestal sink.
Like they just don't think. Yeah. And that's where, on the flips, that's where you're trying to get value. So we added a half bath, and then you go in the half bath was a closet to where you can wash your hands
and actually move.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
all right. I have no idea what this means, but one KPI you check daily. What the fuck's a KPI?
Key principal indicator, I believe.
Is it? No,
it's
is it principal?
So like a KPI would be so I have so certain things you want to make sure that so certain like operating procedures and stuff like that.
Right.
So you want to make sure that key performance indicators, the way to make sure that things are it's performance, right? Performance indicators. So making sure that you're doing well. So you're going to have like, like a bookkeeping, right? That's something
it's all about knowing your numbers
to make
Is
sure
that something you check daily? Like,
yeah, well, you don't check it daily, but you check like you
frequently.
Like, your profit and loss and making sure things are coming in. So you have things set in place to make sure that you're making money. You got things set in place to make sure you're not losing money. Make sure you have stuff in place to make sure people are not stealing money. Right? They're not stealing from you. So you have to have things in place to make sure that your performance you have this in place for your employees, for your business in general.
I mean, I think
you want to have those
for us, and I've talked about this before, where one of those for us is on sales is our escrow account. You know what I mean?
Yes,
I know how many deposits I'm holding is a good indicator of what I'm going to be closing in 45 to 60 days. So, but I mean, I don't look at it I guess I look at it more regularly than I think, but I don't look at it daily or something. I could see analysts that would look at something similar to that daily, but I mean, even once a week is going to give you a good indication of how things are going, but it just depends also on the time of the month. First part of the month for rentals, it's like by the 5th of the month, I know if we've got all our rents in or we're posting.
Okay.
So it just depends on your industry a little bit too. But for sales, it's usually the escrow and stuff like that.
So I am going to ask this because that was our main discussion for today. Syndicate or solo buy a property?
You want I could go syndication. I prefer syndication because for what they say, many hands make for
I like that too.
Yeah, so you it makes a lighter load, so you don't have to shoulder all the responsibility. And then, as we mentioned before, you can have people that have certain skill sets that they bring things to the table. Like I'm an expert at marketing. Laban may have expertise in sourcing deals. Someone else could, be able to get financing. Like they have sources of where they can pull from money.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're right.
I love the syndicate. And then also you can own. Usually you could get more. I like a piece of something is better.
A little of something is a lot better than a lot of nothing.
Yeah.
Does the bank know if you syndicate?
Oh yeah.
I mean, they do. Okay.
You've got some people that do, like we were talking about with landlords, where they're getting money from somewhere and the bank doesn't know that. But no, for the most part, that's all laid out again in the operating agreement or something like that. But I go back to if you're financing with traditional banks, a lot of times they're going to have annual reviews, which is totally understandable. If you were lending money to somebody 6 figures or above, you're going to want to know that they're keeping their house in order to be able to pay you back. So, and that is where, I know we got to finish up, but like, that's where hard money, the benefit of hard money is that they're not scrutinizing you as much as a traditional bank would. Even though they should be. We
got 2 more. So this one, I already know from Fresh. AI, beneficial or a headache?
It's beneficial for sure. I mean, it's not going away, so you better figure it out.
No, I know. I know Fresh though, but Fresh has an AI company. But you would obviously say AI is changing the game. It's making things much more efficient, and it's helping businesses.
Yeah, get on board with AI or get left behind. This is that.
You really do. Yeah,
I agree with that.
Unavoidable. It's something unavoidable. You have to get familiar with it and use it to your advantage.
Laban, have you used it much at all? Do you use it like for listing houses
I do. I
I
started using it more, even in valuations of homes. Like I'll go in there, and I mean, and again, it's just like anything else. The more specific you get with AI, the more
information you get.
Yeah, the more accurate information you're going to get. So, I kind of having an expertise in the real estate side of things. I'm always curious because I realize AI is using the data it has. It doesn't have intuition necessarily. And so it's going to spit it to me based on data, not based on, this could sell because, you know what I mean?
Get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think in that regard, it's another way to look at valuation. And then I get to use what's between my ears and experience to say, yeah, that's about right. Or maybe that's a little bit off. But it's definitely a good, criteria.
It's a good tool.
Yeah, great tool to just see if you're getting close, I guess.
All right, last one. One habit you have that has made you more money.
One more time.
One habit that you have that you would say has made you more money.
Golly.
You could think I got one.
Go ahead. I mean,
say due diligence for you.
I was going to say, yeah, right. Or
due diligence. I would say just saying no.
Fresh. I think you're aggressive. That's what I think.
No, right? Saying no, knowing when to say no, knowing when to back out of a deal. So have a habit, not always be.
That's very true.
Say yes, like, hey, sometimes everything is not for you. Right.
And I think that's, my answer, my knee jerk or first thing I think of is discipline. You know what I mean? I think discipline has made me more money just because there are so many shiny objects that you can go after. I mean, call it crypto, all these different things. And yet I have the discipline to stick with what I know. And that doesn't mean I'm so stringent that I can't be open-minded and creative to new ideas.
No, but you stay within your wheelhouse.
I'm disciplined to know what I'm good at and what I know. And so I think that's where if you're just chasing money and you don't have the discipline to kind of put up those stop gaps, that can really get you. I mean, that's like the old, what's that chick's name that is in jail now for a long time? Yeah, she had zero discipline, dude. Yeah, Corey.
She had 15 houses. She was on
Kouri. You knew something was wrong with the way she spelled her name.
I love that you watched that.
I watched it back the second time just to see how dumb she was, but wow. Yeah.
Fresh, I think you're very precise, but you're very aggressive, I think, in how you do business, whether it's real estate or being an entrepreneur. That's what I really think is a strong trait of yours. You're very smart about what you get into, but you're aggressive with it, I think. Would you agree? Or
I mean, yeah, I would say, yeah, I appreciate that. I would say I have a high risk tolerance.
Yes, that's a better phrase.
Yeah,
yes.
I have high risk tolerance, and it's because I think one of the things is, man, when you don't come from much, I'm not afraid of because I've been to a place where I've had nothing. So
you've been there before, and you trust yourself to get it back.
They don't know what to do, right? I'm like, I could build it all up from the ground up.
Yes, amen.
So it don't matter.
Great job, guys. Great show.
Good stuff.
I appreciate the questions, the answers. And that is great advice. I am going to purchase a house immediately and rent out rooms.
Sublease. Just sublease your parents' house, bro. Your dad would love it.
My brother's room's open. I'll clean out my room.
Yeah. Come on.
Jamal Lundy.
Just ask your dad. Say, hey, would you mind if I sublease, my brother's room here in your house?
He's still counting down the minutes until I get out. yeah. You know what? I want to contribute more. Let's sublease my brother's my room out, and maybe the basement. Let's do that.
Or just ask next week. I want to hear your father's worst story on subleasing. Because I guarantee
My
you, as an
father
attorney,
has stopped doing evictions.
He probably
Because
stopped
New York
because of
State
this
is awful.
very reason. He could not believe somebody would go to that extent, and yet they did.
Well, in New York State, it is so difficult to evict someone. It takes 3 months.
Yeah.
So he literally stopped taking evictions.
It might be winter months. Tell her, he knows. If you don't evict
No, you can't do it in the winter. You're
before
right.
October 2nd.
You're stuck with them. Yep.
Before October 2nd, specifically, I believe in New York.
You're right.
You're screwed into the spring.
You can't turn off the heat or anything.
Crazy.
You're absolutely right. And he stopped doing evictions because there were so many and he just kept losing. And people just kept getting extension after extension. So great show.
Good stuff.
FreshFold Laundry Company, Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Laban Marsh, King of Real Estate. Erie, Pennsylvania, Marsh Real Estate. And Steve Cully, best podcast host in the universe. And check out our website, huskyhub.net, where our shows will be as well. And you can get all the top news on the Yukon Huskies and check out the amazing blogs that I write. And remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges, give me the spin, throw it right back at life.
There it is. Fresh.